I hope you're at least okay. Today is a Tuesday. It's Tuesday, bitches, and I am breaking the fuck out. It's like the minute I'm no longer stressed, my body is like, are you ready for acne? It's all here for you. And I'm like, what? I like only get acne like in this area though. Not really up here, so often. Knock on wood. I also gotta put some lotion on because I do have a video I want us to watch today. I'm quite upset because I had to stream a little bit later, but there is a lot of things that I have to do. As I said, finals week, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and everything all prepped and ready to go. And it's, quite warm outside. So I was like, well, while I'm listening to stuff, I'm gonna do some chores outside or whatever. And then I got sidetracked and, I did a bit more than I intended to do. Which on one hand is really nice because that means that I did a good job. But on the other hand, I'm late. I didn't even I cleaned myself and everything. I did work out too because I can't not prioritize my exercising. Very important for my health. Muy importante. But I was looking for a decent video that kind of describes what's happening with the government shutdown because talking about it does make me feel like I'm going to crash out all the time. And it's a holiday. Trump spoke at the, when they take the whole flower thing and they put it on the unnamed soldier's tomb and that sort of thing. He spoke there. Nothing super new there, honestly. It's just kind of his greatest hits of the past month and a half. So nothing really new. Kind of odd. There are quite a few things that have been happening, obviously. Like, the Philippines have been hit by so many fucking storms. Oh my god, we got another fucking bot. Sad little bot. It honestly hits a little bit harder when it's like your stream's dead, and I'm like, bitch, I just fucking started. Hi, Tahami. Missed you too. Oh, I have a new candle. This one's pumpkin. It's like a spiced pumpkin one. How are you, Tahami? Wait, what is this one called? Orange Farm Apple Pumpkin. And it does in fact smell like that. Shit. Hi, George. Hello. How are you? How is life? Okay. Tommy says, hi, George. How are y'all doing? I'm doing pretty good. I'm kind of tired. Honestly, that's the most interesting thing happening in my life today. I'm kind of afraid I'm just gonna cinch my eyebrows again. I did that once when I was camping. Oh, I burnt off all of my eyelashes one time. It was horrible. Tommy says, unfortunately, my tooth broke while I was eating, so I had to get it removed. At the same time, I had my wisdom tooth extracted, so I was living the worst days of my life lately. R.I.P. I know how much that sucks. I had a similar thing happen to me when I was younger. Just so you know, I get it. Oh, it smells so fucking good. Oh, I don't want to burn myself though, so I gotta keep some space. Some healthy space with it. Okay. But yeah, I know exactly how that feels. I had to have mouth surgery when I was younger because I couldn't close my mouth. It's very painful. And you can't really eat anything for a while. You just kind of have to have mushy things. So what'd you eat? Did you have smoothies? like fruit blended up, or I don't know. What did you do in the meantime? Shit. Oopsie daisy. I knocked something over. Yeah, it's so hard to not touch it with your tongue. It's impossible. I know. And when you get, so you got your wisdom teeth out too. The whole dry socket thing is so gross. I hate it. I hate it so much. Ooh. I was so afraid that I didn't eat anything besides mashed potatoes and applesauce for a couple weeks. I touched it with my tongue anyways. I kept feeling it. I was like, what is this? I felt it all the time. It was so problematic. Yeah. And I don't know, do you want to know my I don't know. I'll explain to you how I relate. I had well, not super in depth, but I had to get my wisdom teeth removed and then I got my first molars removed or whatever because my mouth was too small to fit all my teeth. So I had 8 teeth removed and then I had like a surgery on my tongue. So I couldn't touch my tongue to the roof of my mouth, which is why I can't roll R's because I never did it and I got the surgery so late anyways. So it feels really weird to do it. What else? Yeah, and then after that I got braces. 8 teeth. I had 8 teeth removed. I had my wisdom teeth removed and then I had all of my molars removed. And I still have to get braces again because my mouth has shifted now that I've gotten older. Like my jaw is not wider, but I don't know. I can tell that shifted a little bit, so I'm probably gonna get Invisalign maybe. They also have the stuff behind your teeth that you can get too. My bottom teeth move more. Tommy says, I just removed 2 and I'm complaining a lot about it. No, it's valid. I feel like it's worse when you have less teeth removed because when I got all of my teeth removed, I don't know. I didn't want to eat anything because my mouth hurt. Like it hurts so bad. And right now my face is like a little swollen. For other reasons. But like, oh, my face was so puffy. It was like it was insane. And oh my gosh, since I'm like I have like reddish hair, and I have like ginger jeans or whatever, they have to give me a lot of stuff to make me go under, but it always makes me throw up. So this is really nasty, but I'm gonna tell you anyways. When my whole mouth was like just filled with gauze, I was throwing up like nothing. I was just dry heaving. It was nasty. Anyways, me having surgery is not really fun. The problem is I didn't fall asleep. I felt like I was being killed. They didn't put you out? Oh my gosh. I had to be put out because I had like the whole mouth surgery stuff that happened with my tongue. And they won't operate or do that procedure on someone who's conscious, which sucked. I had to save up a lot of money for it. And I used part of my like my college fund or whatever to get my mouth surgery because I didn't have insurance. Yeah, it cost like my whole mouth thing that happened cost me like braces and surgery cost me about $15,000. It was a lot of money. A lot of money, yo. George says, I've never been put under, only the needles to numb my jaw during root canal work. Really? I've been, oh, sorry. That felt really good. I've been put under a couple of times. It's really scary because any local anesthetic, which is the pain relief stuff, they have to use a lot of it. You hear that crack? I know it felt really good because I worked out. Um, But yeah, local anesthetic, because I have the ginger genes, it takes a lot. You felt that? It wasn't that bad. It's okay. It's okay. This is just my neck, my upper back. It sounds really loud when I do my hips and my feet. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I think it's kind of funny. One time, I almost died when I was a kid, and I had to be put under in the hospital so they could do a lot of tests on me. Uh, which that's like a whole another story. I was out of class for like 2, 3 months or something. I think I was in oh, what do you call it? Kindergarten, and that's partially why I skipped kindergarten. Hips, how could you crack your hips? You just like I don't know, you just go like I don't know how else to describe it. You just like I could probably do it in front of you. Hi, anxious. I am here, yeah. I try to be here every day. Even if I'm just a little bit late, I tend to be here every day. Almost every day. Actually, I stream every day now. Sometimes I'm not here, or I'll stream like super early or something. Mm. I can crack almost everything in my body, like my thumbs, my fingers, my wrists, my elbows, my shoulders. I can crack like everything. My back. I don't know if you heard that, but I can crack my back. I can like pop my sternum. Sometimes I'm hypermobile too, so that's why I can do this. But my ribs will slightly like come out of place. Um, and I get like dislocated joints, so I have to like pop my ribs back into place. So I have to like grab my boob and like push it really hard, or my pec, and then I'll like put it back in place, and I'm like, I can breathe again. Tommy says I got goosebumps. Uh, let's see. Wait. I can pop my hips. That's my hip. My knees are really hard for me to pop though. I can't like pop my knees easily. That's like the only point. And I can do like my ankles, like my feet. George says stop before something falls off. Nah. So I have to stretch all the time. I have to stretch like it's like part of my rep time, you know? I'll just sit there and I'll like stretch for like 10, 15 minutes. Oh my god. It's fun. It's fun. Anxious says, I just got super excited because you're one of the few people who actually care. What does that mean? I bet there's other people who care too. But I don't know what you mean by caring. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah. I don't know. Can you guys not pop yourself like that? People always think it's weird. Andrew freaks out a little bit. Well, yeah. Tommy says, Nami, she's not a real person. I pop my jaw, like, I get TMJ, which is like my jaw can dislocate really easily, and then it'll be sore for months at a time. So it'll like pop out when I eat and stuff, which I have to be careful not to mess with it. Otherwise, if I do it, it's like months of me not being able to do anything. Like, how do I say it? I stopped streaming for a while to help my jaw recover when I was going to California, and then it literally makes me look like I'm getting off of like drugs or something, or like I'm on drugs, because my jaw just dislocates as I'm talking and I have to like pop it back into place. So I don't know. I have to do like a special jaw thing like every night. I have to take like a stone and massage my muscles really hard, like every time I wash my face and whatever. My body's falling apart and I have to work out a lot to make sure it doesn't. Anyway, you guys don't need to know about my chronic health issues. It's not that exciting. It is more of like a novelty thing than everything else, you know? Anyways, how are you guys? I don't think I ever talk about my health stuff on stream. I don't think it's that interesting, but other people think it's more interesting. I don't even know what to say. I'm so speechless. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh my gosh, wait. Andrew, you should come here and show chat how you pop my back. This is gonna blow your mind if you think it's. I think I've shown it before. Andrew has known me for a while, and I trained him on how to like pop my back. I also pop his back too. It's like goes both ways. Aisha says, thank you for being here. You've just made today a bit more bearable. By the way, I'm white girl wasted. I hope I'm not being weird. You're okay. No, you're okay. I'll call you out if you're being weird. Everyone has their moments.
What am I doing?
You're on my back.
Oh, okay.
See, he has to like. Okay. I got a little lower. Just sit there. Then he just pops me up. It's so funny. Thank you. Do you want me to pop you? Oh yeah, he does an arm pop thing too. This is my favorite. Anyone who lives with me will be trained how to do this. So if I have children, they're gonna become baby chiropractors. Just as I was when I was growing up. Hell yeah, motherfucker, let's go. Hi, honey. I can also pop Ollie too. Hello. I love him. Where are you going?
I've done my job.
Are we leaving at 7?
Yeah, we should. They close at 8.
Yeah. Oh, Ollie went on a really good walk today, guys. Girl, there's 2 bones, you didn't crack them yet. I can just crack forever. He just leans on me like this all the time. Hello. He's so needy, chat. It's so cute though. This is my old boy. He loves this. What? He's so cute. I love my dog. See, today we were supposed to talk a little bit about politics, but we got sidetracked. Hey, you don't have to work for the next 12 days? Hell yeah, anxious. Tommy and you should both be getting a break, which is good. And George also should get a break. I taunt him a bit. Oh, is Siri here? Oh, okay, I know. So, oh, I brought a lot of ladybugs inside, chat. That's a fun thing. There were a ton of ladybugs outside of my house, and I was like, well, I didn't bring them all in, but you know. Anxious says, why do I always feel like garbage when I've had too much wine? Good question. That's why I don't really drink. Okay. Jesus. This dude is so needy. He wants me to sit here like this all day. Like, look at this. Ugh, let me get out now. So if I like stand here like this. Wait. Over here. Okay, you wanna do the thing? Wanna do the thing, Sean? He'll like sit here and shove his face in my legs. And he does that all the time. He's like, more pets, please, mother. Yeah, I know. What is that? What is that? No. He's so good. Oh my god. Guys, I got distracted by dogs and pops. I know, I'll keep petting you. Jesus. Jesus. Ugh. I gotta sit down. No, you can't. You can't be begging me for more. I need you plenty. I have. Oh my. Tommy says there's a lot of crows outside my apartment sometimes. They might attack you if they don't like you. Really? They do that though, don't they? If you fuck with birds, they will mess with you back. Sometimes they bring you things though, which is really cool. And she says, I did everything I was supposed to, but I feel like, oh no, but I feel like I'm a bad person for drinking too much. Well, that's why I don't drink. I have like an existential crisis every time I drink. Like, I'll come home from an event. It's okay when I'm with other people, but, I don't know. I have to have like a little bit. I can handle my liquor a lot too. So I can drink quite a bit, and it takes a lot for me to get intoxicated. I guess it's because I have muscle or whatever, but I don't know. It's just not really for me as much. I used to bartend. I think that's why I don't enjoy it as much anymore. I started bartending a bit again for a while, and it was okay. And you have to try your drinks, obviously, like when you start up again to make sure it tastes right. Um, I don't know. So I don't have like a. I've never been like super into it, but I like making drinks, and I can identify them just by looking at most of them. Tommy says, I think it has something to do with them messing up the ecosystem somehow. So suddenly there were a lot of crows in the area. Oh, you're talking about the. Damn. The popo. Or the dogs, if you're watching that one TV show. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe I just need a hug. I could feel horrible lately. It could just be me being a bit lonely. Probably. Drinking by yourself isn't always the vibe, IMO. If you eat some food, you'll feel a little bit better. Go and have a snack. I think that's like the best thing that you can do for yourself right now. Have a snack. Rest up a little bit. Don't do don't make a lot of like quick decisions or whatever. Just chill. And you'll feel better. You just have to be patient with yourself. You can't put yourself in a lot of bad situations, you know. Otherwise, you'll feel worse about yourself. So you just gotta be patient. Don't push yourself too crazy or too hard, and you'll be okay. That's what I do. I guess you could. It's whatever you think would be best for you. Oh, Tommy says, man, don't feel sad. We're all alone. We are kind of all alone all the time. I used to not like being alone, and now I'm just like, I prefer being alone. I don't like a lot of people anymore. It's like a lot more work. But when I was younger, I really, really enjoyed a lot of people's company. I think when I get older, I'll probably like people's company a lot more, but right now I'm just like, just stay away a little bit. Not a lot. Hmm. Hmm. I do have a video we can watch today, though, if you guys want to. Like, Tommy says, since I was young, I preferred to be alone. It's a lot better, honestly. Yeah. It's, it's honestly one of the things that I feel really comfortable with. Aw. George says, what is it about? Oh, the video? I was thinking maybe we could watch a video about the government shutdown. A little bit. Mm. I think Pakistan did. Yeah, Pakistan is back into a state of war. We don't really know. It's the Pakistani Taliban. I don't know, this was something I noticed earlier. And I just wanted to mention it. Doop, doop, doop. I know, Tommy says, yay, political stuff. I know, I was like, we keep talking about this. Everyone's just going to feel sad all the time. Doom and gloom vibes, and I don't really want that. And yeah, George, we shall see if it's over. We shall see. I don't have a lot of trust in it. I'm kind of like, what's going to happen here? But I don't know, man. It stresses me out. Hmm. There is a couple of videos I kind of wanted to talk about, but I feel like the best would be by the lady named Leisha Miller. She's pretty chill, but yeah. Let's see. George says, just waiting on Congress getting back to work. Vibes, vibes. Same. We'll see if they actually do anything. Anxious says, it's almost 1 a.m. I should sleep, but thanks for making me feel a bit better. Yeah, no problem. Good luck. I think you'll do fine. If you put a lot of pressure and stress on yourself, you're probably going to feel worse. So just be patient and you'll feel better. But toodles. Toots, anxious raccoon. I think it's, I don't know, probably be Thursday when it's all over, but I found a video that kind of explains it a bit better than I do. I'm okay when it comes to this aspect of politics, but I'm better with a lot of, like, logistical things. I like to hypothesize and break down, like, what's actually happening, not necessarily, like, how do I put it? This just isn't my favorite part of, like, politics, so I don't pay as much attention to it, honestly. Because it's, well, one, shutdowns are not super common. It's not something that's very popular. It's just something that happens every once in a while, not super often. And two, it's a really wild card kind of situation. Because the Senate decided to make a couple of changes to the legislation, it has to go back to the House. The House is probably going to change it up a little bit, and if the House changes it up a bit again, it'll have to go back to the Senate to get voted through again. So it's not like everything is inherently fixed, and it's not like everything's better, but the House will probably, like, agree to it, so we'll see how it goes. But we have Leisha Miller. She's not my favorite person. I've talked about that before. And I'm not going to put her on a pedestal or anything like that. But a lot of her content is pretty okay. So here we go. So weird to do more React content. And as you can see, she posted it yesterday. Tommy says the shutdown system is so weird to me, I can't even understand it. Bro, I live here and I still don't understand it. It frustrates me. It's like, one of the reasons why it can happen is because Congress, so both the Senate and the House, they both get paid, even though they can't pass a budget. So as long as it doesn't overlap when their agreement ends for them getting paid, they're still going to get paid for everything. Also, their payments and their payment plan is going to be included in the bill as well. And that's like a whole layered thing. I usually don't get as invested in budget stuff. I feel like if I was better with finances, it'd be more interesting. She needs to get different glasses. Okay, George. I feel like, oh yeah, it's honestly like a white girl thing to have like glasses that cover your eyebrows. It's kind of goofy to me because I feel like when you have glasses that cover your eyebrows, it makes you look like you have a larger forehead. I don't know. And you can't read your expressions as easily, but whatever.
America. I'm Legia Miller. Today it's more like, what the fuck, America, specifically Democrats.
Me too,
I woke
girl.
up to the first sprinkling of snow of the season, and I couldn't even muster a giddy sense of youthful wonder because it's a Monday, and Democrats are once again, say it with me, fumbling the fucking ball. Yesterday, Sunday, 8 Democrats, or 7 Democrats and 1 independent that votes Democratic, defected and agreed to move forward with a vote to end the government shutdown with no extension of ACA subsidies in place. You know, the single line item this entire government shutdown was being fought over. There are still procedural hurdles that need to happen, which we'll go over because no major news outlet seems to care about being explicit about the procedural rules of our Congress. Thank God I'm here. This place is a fucking mess. Let's get into it. Here are the names of the 8 defecting senators who voted last night to move forward with ending the government shutdown. Dick Durbin of Illinois, Angus King of Maine, who's independent but usually votes Democrat, Tim Kaine of Virginia, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, and Jackie Rosen of Nevada. Dick Durbin and Jean Shaheen aren't seeking re-election, but the other 6, if you live in their districts in Maine, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, or Nevada, these people need to be primaried out of existence at the first opportunity. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's break down what's going on here. The government shutdown started on October 1st. It has now been 40 days, the longest shutdown in U.S. history. I think we're on day 41, technically. On November 1st, ACA, or Obamacare, their marketplaces opened so that people who buy their health insurance through those marketplaces could participate in open enrollment and pick their plan for next year. 24 million people in the U.S. get their insurance this way, and 22 million of them rely on ACA subsidies. That is, the government paying a portion of the monthly premium in order to afford their plans. But those subsidies are set to expire for next year's plans, so millions of Americans discovered that their insurance costs were about to skyrocket, costing potentially tens of thousands of dollars per year for some families. Costs that are so astronomically unaffordable that the smartest, most economically viable option for many families and individuals would be to forego health insurance altogether. If that is you, TikTok is ablaze with videos, mostly from moms, because of course they are the ones to be saddled with this labor, explaining how people plan to work around the system to get whatever coverage they can. For some, this means going for the cheapest option and then storing away as much extra money as possible in a health savings account to use should they need it. For others, that means going directly to their doctor's office and signing up for
it's also called the HSA. And George says, good job, Democrats. It's really shitty because it's made it so I can no longer afford decent health insurance anymore. And for me, I personally cannot have a full-time job or anything like that because I'm a student and I would have to give up my education in order for me to have a job that gives me insurance. And as someone who's had a full-time job that has given me insurance in the past, it's not like your rates don't go up if you have corporate insurance too, because if the baseline insurance prices go up, like through ACA plans, then other insurance companies and insurance policy managers will be able to increase the rate that people have to pay for other insurance programs. So for me, there's a lot riding on that because I have to now try to do something, pull money out of somewhere in order to afford to have health insurance, or I'm going to have to go without it because Nebraska doesn't have a lot of plans that help me. for me personally, I can't afford to be spending like $300 on health insurance every month. Like, I don't make enough to be able to afford that, pay rent or like pay like for my classes, honestly. I can't manage that. So it's like for once in my life, like I grew up without health insurance, by the way, and that access because I had neglectful parents, whatever. I'm not going to dive super deep into that. And that was just a whole fucking debacle. So I've had to pay out of pocket for my healthcare costs for years. Like I had things going to collections constantly, like stuff that happened when I was a teenager, I still had to pay for on my own. I tried really hard to be like, no, I was a minor, I should have to pay for this, it should be on my parents and stuff, but it was still on my like my record. So I had to pay, like, honestly, out of pocket now that I look back, about over $50,000 in healthcare costs as like just a young adult. And I'm 26 right now. So I had health insurance in my life that I had access to in my 26 years for about 3 years. And that's been as an adult. And now I'm not sure if I can get it again. And if that happens, if I get sick, if I get like strep throat or the flu or something, or God forbid, like I break an arm or something like that, I will have to spend all of my money out of pocket in order to combat that because I may not be able to afford health insurance. It's not something that's like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes or whatever. It's actually going to affect my life. And I, like, this past year, I think it was like last year, I finally paid off all of the debt that I had accrued for medical debt. And it's not just like random stuff of like, going to the doctor or whatever, because I didn't go to the doctor for literally 6 years at a time, unless it was for like a medical issue, and I'd have to go to a random like urgent care clinic or a random doctor that I could find for the cheapest rate in my area. So I didn't get really good coverage. And then it caused me to have even worse health issues because I wasn't able to get quality care. I was just going to the person who was like closest to me. So this situation, I haven't discussed this a lot because it's not something I like to talk about because it's really rough for me. But like, it fucking sucks. Like I'm not gonna dive super. I feel like I actually should mention this. Like I had a breast cancer scare. I have like issues with my like health and everything, to the point where I can't have the surgery I need to like remove like these non-cancerous benign tumors that I have because I don't have good enough health insurance for it. And I would have to take like probably a month and a half off to get it removed. And because it's like non-cancerous, because I had to get biopsies and everything, and I'd pay for all that out of pocket. It cost me almost $20,000 to do that, by the way. That whole process, if I had ACA health insurance or Obamacare or whatever, like the whole process, if I had that, it would have cut a sliver off of that and it would have been so much better for me. But I had to pay all of that out of pocket for years at a time. And then still, because of how the American insurance company is set up, like, or the healthcare system, you could go to a doctor, have there be a lab that tests everything at the doctor's office, but that doctor's like lab or whatever could be out of network. So you have to pay for all of the lab tests full price. And that's something that I still have to do because I haven't been able to find a doctor office like in my area that doesn't have an out of network lab. So even if with Obamacare and stuff, I still have to pay for a lot of shit out of pocket, which is ridiculous. But at least it's not like thousands of dollars, And it sucks because I like every time, and I know that it won't be like this forever or whatever, but it's like I couldn't go to school for a long time because I couldn't afford to pay payments to go to school while I was paying off all of the medical debt that I had. So it's something that absolutely destroyed my life. And now that I'm to a point in my life where I don't want to cry because it's so frustrating, because I don't think you guys understand how big of a fucking deal it is and how much I was rooting for Democrats. But I didn't get to go to school again until my late 20s. Like, I'm 26 now and I'm just now able to go back to school and afford it. But I couldn't do that until this point in my life because I had to pay off so much medical debt. Like, so much medical debt. And it's so frustrating to have that, like, all be taken away again. And then I might have to drop out of fucking school if I want health insurance. So it's like having to have the ultimatum of an education or having, like, somewhat of an option to have healthcare is the reason why we have such an education crisis here in the States, or people just die for no fucking reason. Like, people who are in their 30s, millennials, are dying because they don't have access to healthcare at rates that has not happened in decades. So, like, when people are being super happy and they're very, oh, it pisses me off because it's not something that's like, oh, the Democrats should just pass it or whatever, because I was rooting for them. Like, I was rooting so hard. I was like, finally, they're actually doing something that might benefit my future. And then now, everything that I have planned, like, if this shit goes tits up again, I can't go back to school because I can't afford it. And because I have chronic health issues, I need health insurance as an adult. It's not like I can just pay another, like, $50,000 out of pocket. Just, like, that's years and years and years. I had to work 2-3 jobs at a time to pay it off, to the point where it broke my body down, and I had to, like, I was basically not able to work a job for 6 months because my body was so worn down. Like, this shit's serious. And it's something that I try not to talk about, like, my personal shit and bring it into all this stuff all the time. But this stuff really personally affects me, and I'm really afraid because it's like I just got my feet under me again, and I don't want it all taken away. And everything I have is riding on me, like, continuing the path I'm doing, and it's like all of it will be taken away again. It sucks. But anyways, yeah, Tahami, it's because our insurance companies act as a middleman. And people, it just makes everything crazy. We could have a breakdown of that, like, on Thursday,
where they pay a monthly fee directly to their clinic
it's hard.
And get routine exams and labs for a heavily reduced cost. Some people have also discovered that paying out of pocket for certain procedures is more affordable than going through insurance. I'm no expert on this. You'll need to do your own research, which is fucking bullshit. The richest country on the planet should be able to provide basic life-saving healthcare to its people for free.
Because it's not all
about
fair
that you need to do this work in order to maybe not go bankrupt if you have a health emergency.
Thank you.
But the information is out there.
I don't know what to do
anyway,
now.
all that to say, the health insurance costs are too damn high. The people saw that on November 1st, and Senate Democrats were blocking the passage of the continuing resolution to reopen the government, fund the government, unless it included an extension of the ACA subsidies that bring down those unconscionably high insurance costs. And many of the American people were uncomfortable and disliked the government shutdown, but were nevertheless in favor of Democrats holding out because they were finally using what little power they have to actually stand up against an out-of-control tyrannical regime. And because for many people, the cost of healthcare without those ACA subsidies would be far, far worse. And for 40 days, the American people lived through an increasingly uncomfortable shutdown. And last week, Democrats saw sweeping election victories in the middle of the longest government shutdown in history, indicating that perhaps the American people were mostly upset with Republicans, indicating that perhaps the Democrats should keep going, given given the fact that they now had the leverage of the PR and upswing in confidence that comes from sweeping election victories. Polls were showing that most people blamed Trump and the Republicans for the shutdown. Democrats finally had some leverage. Something to point to and say the American people clearly want this.
Tommy.
The Republicans are dead set on making that ACA subsidy cut permanent. We are using the leverage we have to make them come to the table and provide for the American people, even though they don't want to. They even attempted to use that leverage further, offering last week to end the government shutdown if Republicans simply agreed to a 1-year extension of the ACA subsidies to give them more time to hammer out a more permanent solution. Forcing the Republicans to reject even this more tempered measure, one that would allow the government to reopen and also allow millions of Americans to afford their health insurance, was frankly a pretty smart political move. I mean, it would then require Democrats to be good at the marketing aspect of things to make sure the American people actually saw what was really happening. But even with those shortcomings, it truly was a marketing and PR slam dunk. A simple equation over the balance of power, which for the first time since last November finally felt like it was ever so slightly tipping towards Democrats. And then they fucking blinked. Or these 8 assholes blinked at least. And last night they sided with Republicans. Now I think it's worth taking a step back to talk about the basics of congressional procedure here, which is really boring but really necessary to follow what's going on, and not enough people talk about it. To understand what's going on, we have to understand how Congress handles the budget, which, unlike what Trump and his goons like to harp on about, is squarely within the authority of Congress and not the president to handle. But the president does, of course, play a role. Every year, the president presents a federal budget proposal, which outlines his spending priorities for the given fiscal year, specifically for discretionary programs. Discretionary programs are things like defense, education, transportation. They require Congress to appropriate funds to keep them running every year. Mandatory spending.
And this is really important because, like I've said before, only Congress is allowed to mess with the funds of different government agencies or different government programs. And this is part of how they decide that. So with Trump trying to do a lot of stuff with tariffs and try to take over things financially, that's technically not supposed to be something that can happen. It's something that only Congress can really do. To the extent where the Supreme Court literally has been hearing about the whole tariff situation and what is going to happen there and blah, blah, blah.
Is not part of that yearly budget process and impacts spending that has been set by a separate law. That includes things like Social Security, Medicare, things that are funded through separate processes. Those are not included in the fiscal year budget talks. Every year, Congress is supposed to pass a federal budget law, also called an appropriations bill, to allocate funding for the fiscal year by October 1st, when the next fiscal year begins. So fiscal year 2026 runs from October 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026. However, over the last 50 years, Congress has only managed to pass the fiscal year budget before the start of the fiscal year 3 times. Thrice. In half a century. Instead, in order to keep the government funded and avoid a shutdown, Congress passes continuing resolutions, which basically kick the can down the road for a certain number of days, maybe a month, maybe 3 months, to give them more time to pass the larger appropriations bill. It just extends the current funding for X amount of days. They will eventually pass the full year budget, but it'll be halfway through the fiscal year, and they're just passing the appropriations bill for that year. If a continuing resolution, or CR, is not passed before October 1st, or if a CR runs out and a new CR or full budget bill isn't passed, then the government shuts down. Again, it's not a full shutdown because some spending is mandatory, but all the unfunded, discretionarily funded programs get shut down. Though, of course, some, like TSA and air traffic control, are deemed essential, so they must keep running despite no funding, and that's why we have so many unpaid TSA and air traffic controllers operating right now.
And she doesn't really mention it, but there is a lot of money that gets set to the side so some government programs can continue to be funded, like the SNAP program and stuff. There are options and, for people to still get paid through SNAP for about 2 months after a shutdown were to happen, as well as some other benefits and that sort of thing. Because people need to eat. People shouldn't really starve. And that's why the Democrats had time. But Tommy says too many responsibilities for people to handle, while at the same time trying to live their lives without ending up committing suicide or becoming homeless. It's really hard. Yeah. And For me personally, I don't have family. Like, my whole fucking family died for the most part. Not to like make it sad or whatever, because I know it's fucking sad. But I don't have anyone to rely on for my stuff or whatever. Uh, Besides like my immediate like friend group or whatever. And even then, most people who are younger don't have a lot of assets and resources, so I can't rely on people for a lot of stuff. My whole life has been me trying to find different either government programs, cheap ways for me to get like state sponsored like medical visits or whatever, which nothing's really state sponsored for the most part, but I thought when I was younger it could be, but not really. Like, I went to Planned Parenthood for all of my like reproductive health care. I went to like literal dental clinics to get my teeth cleaned and stuff like that for years because I couldn't afford to go to the dentist. And I still have not been to the dentist since like before, since I got my braces taken off because I couldn't afford to do it. I had to get my braces taken off early because I couldn't continue to afford to, like, making those payments when I was going to school because I had to pay for my education almost entirely on my own through like scholarships and stuff. It's like, it's so rough because I've seen people really go through it and watch people's entire lives fall apart because they didn't have good health insurance and they decided to have things wait and they actually die. Like, I know people who have died because they decided that it was too expensive for them to go see the doctor. And because of that, they actually died. And it's people that I know who I've been close to. And that's why I'm a big, like, I didn't have to go to school or read a lot of fucking books to be left leaning or anything like that because I lived it and I watched it happen. And it fucking sucks. And I know people who have, like, they had no resources, no family, no support or whatever. And if you have no support when you're going through stuff, or you have people who say they'll support you, but then they actually don't, they just want to seem like they care or whatever, that shit fucking sucks. It's really fucking hard. Because what do you do? What do you do? You know? And there's plenty of people who are like, they'll make it and their lives will be pretty ironed out or whatever, and they'll just be like, well, you know, they have to push through and they have to do all that. But they don't understand that things are about 15 times to even 20 times more expensive now than it was when they were trying to like make it through. So it fucking sucks. And it sucks. And a lot of people are really privileged and they've just never had to see it. Yeah. Tommy says that's why it's so sad and weird at the same time. Like, why, like, literally, why is it that expensive? Because there's so many reasons. It's all about money. It's literally all about money. People want to make the most money doing what they're doing. And it's hard. It's hard because you sit there, like, when I was younger, I used to believe that it was the system that was broken and that people at the top didn't understand what was going on. They didn't know what was happening. It was all by mistake. And then you get like your exposure to people in those environments who do have that say. And they straight up don't view people who are in like the situation that I was in to be actual people. It's really disappointing. So it's so expensive because you as a person are viewed as just another, like, livestock almost. Like, you're there to make money for the people at the top, and then if you're not serving that purpose or whatever, like you get sick or you get hurt, then just shoot them. It's like, you know, how horses, if they break their legs, instead of people really taking the time to care for them, they'll literally just kill the horse or put it down. Or having like a sick pet. instead of trying to like care for them and help rehabilitate them, you put them down, or giving them to someone who can care for them better, you put them down. Like that sort of situation, although it's really hard, that's how you're viewed. It's rough. It's just not.
In order for an appropriations bill or a CR to pass, it needs to first pass by a simple majority in the House, though some procedures meant to speed up the process require a supermajority, and then it's sent to the Senate, where 60 yes votes out of 100 are required for passage. This comes from the Senate's filibuster rule, wherein a person...
And to my knowledge, the expedited process, or the process that's faster in the House, they wouldn't be allowed to make any changes to how things are formatted. So they wouldn't be able to change the ACA platform or whatever, add to it. Tommy says, I always talk about how bad the situation here is, but the only good thing here is you can afford to get treatment even if you don't have any money. I know. America is one of the only countries in the world where there's plenty of money to care for people and plenty of money to be sure everyone's okay. It's just taken away from people, and people are told this lie that you can just work hard enough and you'll be okay and you'll get it. It's fucked up. And then people buy into that, especially people who are wealthier. And they remove themselves from the situation. Like, I'm not gonna like bring in a lot of shit or like say exactly who or whatever, but I have relatives who make quite a bit of money or whatever, and then when I've told them about like how I can't afford things, they're like, oh, just get government assistance. And they're so detached from reality and the idea of like even helping someone who's struggling, like how I was or my other family members were, because I grew up surrounded by wealth. But like I'm talking like people who were literally millionaires, and I didn't know when I was going to eat next. I couldn't go to the doctor regularly. I would literally get so sick, like physically ill, that I'd be missing months of school because I wouldn't be able to get like medications in time for like strep throat. Like my strep throat would get so bad that it would turn into bronchitis when I was in high school because my family couldn't afford to take me to the doctor. And my relatives who had money literally like were like, oh, well, you should just get government assistance. But I couldn't because of the predicament that I was in. So I would have to, like, I had to get a job early when I was a teenager so I could help pay all that shit off. And I didn't understand that my family knew about it the whole time until I was older. And that's part of the reason why I don't talk to them, because they're so not in touch with reality that everything they do, well, not everything, but when it comes to helping other people, they're so cruel. It's like the most cruelty I've ever seen in my life. And you don't really want to be around people who they're so disillusioned with reality that nothing you can say can bring them back down, because they don't want that to be reality. So here in America, things aren't going to change until people who are in the upper echelon either have to face that experience themselves, which I don't want anyone to experience because it's really fucking hard. Like, it's hard to be alone constantly, and it's hard to not be able to rely on people, and it's hard to be afraid to talk about it because people just view you as less than or dirty. And then, like, personally for me, it's even harder because people look at me and they believe that I have stuff that I don't always have. Like, I find a way to make shit work, and I work so fucking hard to do all this stuff, but you can't do that when your body is breaking. You can't do that when your body is so broken down and exhausted. Like, it's just fucked up. People just are not, they get to isolate themselves in these little pockets where they only see wealth, and they view anyone else who's not part of the wealthy to be stupid and not trying enough. It's fucked up. People just don't view people as people here, and they can't if they want to feel comfortable living the lifestyle that they have, or they just are psychopaths.
opposed to
or
a vote can stand
narcissists
up and talk
who
nonstop
think
during the
that
debate, which
no one else
delays the
deserves
vote.
it, and they
The
do.
only way to get that person to shut up and sit down is with a 60-person vote, also known as cloture. The filibuster process is shortened, so people don't actually have to stand up and speak for hours if the Senate already knows that there aren't the 60 people necessary to vote to end the filibuster. So the vote is held up without the need for all the theatrics. That's why the Senate has held votes over and over again for the last 40 days. The votes themselves were to see whether cloture had been reached so that they can move forward without someone standing up and filibustering for hours without the votes to stop them. And so Sunday night was the first time they were able to get 60 yes votes in order to move forward with the vote on whether to vote on the CR. It was a vote on whether to vote. Just as an aside, because I want to paint the full budget picture in Congress for you, like I said, we're dealing with the appropriations process, which handles discretionary yearly funding through full year appropriations.
Yeah, it's true, Tommy. I've literally had, my mom was disabled, right? And before she passed, she was getting $900 a month from the government, and that would barely cover her rent or anything that she had. She couldn't save more than $3,000 in finances or assets without all of it being taken away from her. She wasn't allowed to get married because if she were to get married, she'd lose all of her fucking benefits. She wasn't allowed to she couldn't afford a car because a car would cost too much, and if anything happened to it, she wouldn't be able to have more than $3,000 in savings to cover it, and just so on and so forth. And I literally had people who were close to me in my life tell me that if I was ever needy, I should just take money from my mom. And those are people I will never speak to again. Ever in my fucking life. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever fucking heard. People telling me that I should just mooch off with my disabled mom if I ever had a hard time. Even sitting here and thinking about it makes me feel so fucking disgusted. It was the most out of touch thing I have ever heard. Or one of them, honestly. And it's this is stuff that they're so disillusioned, they don't understand reality at all. They think that they don't understand it, so they're just oh, they're just getting government payouts. They don't actually need it. I never once in my life have taken anything from my mother. Up until she died. I actually paid for a lot of her fucking shit. The minute I got a job, I did. It's just, people just don't get it, because they don't fucking pay attention. And they think that it's so easy, and that if you just do all this stuff, and then the only people who say that are the people who have never had to go through it and don't even take the time to learn more about it. It's disgusting. But anyways, yeah, people don't understand how fucking sick it is. And having to help someone go through the process, not just with my mom, but with my disabled siblings, who they needed a lot of help growing up. And I was in the foster care system a bit too. So I got to see how all of this goes for a lot of people who struggle. I've had to see how government assistance works for people who used to be in jail and stuff. I've never been to jail, but I've seen how it goes with other people because I had relatives who went to jail for lots of random shit. I'm not going to dive into that. But when you see this process, you see that government assistance is very conditional. There are so many checks and balances. And if I took money from my mother to help me do stuff, my mom would lose her benefits because the government, if they trace the money back, which they do follow the money constantly with people, and they saw that I was getting something from her consistently, she would lose her benefits and she would no longer be able to afford shit, which she already couldn't afford with how much she was being given. It's just, people don't understand how this shit works, and they like to talk a lot about it, and then they say disgusting fucking shit. They devalue people with the stuff that they say and do, and it is disgusting. I have no sympathy for those people.
Continuing resolutions. This is not
Sorry,
to be
it
confused
pisses
with
me
the
off.
reconciliation bill,
But people
which is a
don't get
special
how it is
legislative
here.
procedure that allows Congress to fiddle with mandatory spending, taxes, or the federal debt limit. It only requires a simple majority to pass, and as such, is easier to use for larger policy issues when there is a trifecta in Congress and the White House. The big, beautiful bill was a reconciliation bill. It's been used 22 times since the process was.
I also want to say that, like, I'm not angry with these people anymore. I've accepted who they are, and I have moved past it because I just know that I'll never be able to trust those people because they don't view people as people. And that's not me holding a grudge or whatever. It's like they showed me who they are, and they showed me their values as people, and you can't really go back from that. Like, you just can't. And maybe you can learn and stuff, but I hope you can apply it to the people that you have relationships with in the future, you know? Daria says, OMG, Posey, it's bedtime, and it maybe for you.
The Congressional Budget Act.
Maybe for you, Mr. Darius.
Okay, so Sunday they voted to move forward with a vote. But there are a few amendments to be made first, because they did, in the end, reach a kind of compromise with Republicans. Republicans didn't really do much of the compromising. This is still a CR, so the agreement would kick the can down the road and fund the government through the end of January. So we might have to do this all over again in a couple months. Mm-hmm. The agreement also included a pinky promise from Republicans that there will definitely be a separate vote to address the ACA subsidies in mid-December, something that has no enforceability and just relies on the word of Republicans that they'll definitely for sure revisit the issue before the new subsidy cut goes into effect in January, which means nothing good for the Democrats. Either it means the Republicans simply won't hold the vote at all and will just let the subsidy cut take effect and do nothing about it and hope that by the midterms next year, the American people will have forgotten all about the whole
but I'm not happy that the government's back in
and who caused them, which frankly is a very real possibility. Or the Democrats just gave Republicans a layup, and Republicans will vote to extend the subsidies in December, and will then be able to present extending the subsidies as their own idea and take credit for saving the people from the Democrat increase to their healthcare costs. Like, do you see how this is so fucking stupid? The new agreement also guarantees that federal workers would get back pay, including furloughed workers, and it would undo the staffing cuts that Trump and OMB Director Russ Vought put in place during the shutdown. The agreement also comes along with the passage of a package of 3 bills that would put full fiscal year spending in place for just a few areas. So they're kicking the can down the road till January 30th for everything except for the provisions in these 3 full fiscal year bills. Those bills handle the Department of Agriculture and the FDA. Then there's the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs Funding Bill, and finally the Legislative Branch Appropriations Act of 2026 to help fund Congress itself. And I took a quick little peek at the text of that one, and what do you know? The Senate, through the kindness of its heart, found it within themselves to negotiate a compromise that includes kicking the can down the road to January 30th for everything except when it comes to what? Their salaries. Their own salaries, and the salaries of their personal security teams. Don't worry, guys. The House just got 7-week paid vacations and will now come back to vote on the bill that guarantees their pay for the next fiscal year. Thank God. Okay, so after Sunday night, the Senate recessed until 11 a.m. Monday morning. That's today. They then have to do some procedural votes over how long to allow for debate on the bill, during which time senators could pump the brakes or hold up the inevitable for just a while longer, which at this point kind of seems like a waste of everyone's time because there is no further actual debate really happening now that they have 60 votes. So prolonging the process will just prolong the shutdown and the pain that it's causing. So eventually, once all these procedural hurdles are jumped over, once the Senate actually passes the meat of the CR, it goes back to the House so they can agree to it or further amend it, at which point it would have to go back to the Senate, etc., back and forth forever, though Mike Johnson has promised to try to get this through as quickly as possible. Once the 2 chambers agree on the same bill, it goes to Trump's desk for signature. This all has to happen before the shutdown ends. Then comes the administrative headache of getting the whole government up and running again, including issuing massive amounts of back pay, getting workers back to work, and, just managing the levels of chaotic disruption that are caused when an office just fully shutters for 7 weeks. This also means that Mike Johnson has to give notice to the House to return to Washington from their 7-week paid vacation to go back into session, at which point he will have to finally swear in Adelita Grijalva, who will be the final vote necessary to force a vote on whether to make the Epstein files public public. It's all not still guaranteed that they would be made public, but at the very least, it would force everyone to go on the record and say plainly that they'd rather keep the files from the public, which would then enrage a huge portion of the Republican base, because we all know at this point that it is a ploy to protect the reputations of powerful people, including likely the President of the United States, who were known friends and associates of a deplorable pedophile. Mike Johnson was able to drag his feet on this since Adelita Grijalva was elected in September, an unprecedented amount of time for an elected official to have to wait to get sworn in. But the jig is up, at least on this tactic. Lord knows Mike Johnson will seek out any other way imaginable to drag his feet and avoid facing the Epstein files music. A lot of this will likely get ironed over in the next week or two, unless he uses the CR as an excuse to just prolong the shutdown to avoid the Epstein files vote, saying, no, we're far too busy to hold a vote on that yet, and using the shutdown as a thinly veiled excuse to continue protecting his friends. We are in uncharted territory with that one, so it's unclear what the next few weeks will hold on the Epstein files front. I'm not holding my breath. But barring any hijinks, the government shutdown will probably end within the next week. Okay, so the key takeaway here is that, once again, no one is coming to save us. The government will reopen, so hopefully at least our experience at the airport won't be quite so heinous. Just a reminder, as an aside, that people who fly in private jets get to use our same airspace
they pay
and
much
exploit
attention
the
to it.
FAA and the air traffic controllers' time, but it was we the people and the major commercial airlines that felt the brunt of the shutdown fallout at the airports. If they had just grounded all private jets to make more space available for commercial airlines, this shutdown wouldn't have lasted a week. I can't stop thinking about that. Anyway, the government will
That's true, though.
Trump and his goons will continue dismantling it further, ignoring the rule of law, disappearing people off the streets, increasing funding for the Gestapo, and completely undermining our elections. And Democrats have proven, once again, incapable of forming a united opposition to stand up to any of this. No one is coming to save us. We have to save us. And this is not an every man for himself salvo. I mean quite the opposite. Now is the time to form or join that neighborhood coalition, if you haven't already, to open that free store, to donate your time or money to that mutual aid group down the street, to form that book club, to do the community building work that's unglamorous and doesn't create immediate change, but that creates the support networks
mutual
we
aid,
need
baby,
to endure the next 3+ years and beyond in a country and with a government that has proven time and again that it quite literally does not care whether we live or die. We have to put our oxygen masks on first before we can even begin to think about rebuilding this incredibly broken system. There are immediate, dire needs not being met in our communities. Just literally look outside, go for a walk, look for the needs not being met, and figure out how to give your time or money to help meet those needs in your own community, and form those networks so that if and when you have needs, you know where to turn. I'm talking food banks and shelters for the unhoused, and support networks for tracking ICE and protecting your neighbors from the Gestapo, but also the only bastions of socialism in this country left, public schools and public libraries. Make sure they are funded. Make sure they are being run by people who care about open and free expression and free flow of information. Put whatever money you can towards your values. Buy local produce. Buy local artisans. Buy your local newspaper. Donate to mutual aid networks. And spend whatever free time you have supporting your community. Even if it's as simple as finding your local library's Canopy app and deleting 1 or 2 streaming services in favor of watching what the library is carrying. Yes, your local library probably partners with Canopy. That's Kanopy. It's a public library video streaming service with millions of shows and movies
My school
you
does
can watch
too.
from the comfort of your own home. They also have huge collections of physical media at the library. CDs, DVDs, even vinyl. The Central Minneapolis Library has a vinyl revival listening room that seems to almost never be utilized. You can book a private listening session for up to 2 hours a day. Now, I know we're all fucking exhausted,
really cool.
myself included. Most days, to be honest with you, I do not have the energy to do anything other than be a
I haven't
slug
been there,
sausage
but I've
on my
heard of
couch.
it,
It's
and it's
embarrassing
cool.
to admit it, but hey, at least I'm reading ebooks from my local library and giving money to local organizations that need it and meeting once a week at a local coffee shop with my closest friends. It's not revolutionary, and frankly, I'm not thriving at the moment. Most people aren't, that's kind of the point. But there are small things we can do every day to remove ourselves from this late-stage capitalist hellhole and do the things necessary to connect with and support our communities. That's what we must do at this point to survive this. And if you'd like to support my work, consider joining here on YouTube by clicking the big join button below, or supporting me over on Patreon, patreon.com/Legia Miller, where you get access to all these episodes completely ad-free. Thank you to my multi-platinum patrons, Mark, Sarah Shelby, Art, David, Latranger Lucas.
Her content's pretty okay. I used to not like it as much towards the beginning of her like streaming career and stuff, but she's really ironed a lot of stuff out. But anyways, Darius military book clubs are the only way to save the country. That's not really what she's talking about, and I think you know that, so I'm not really gonna expand deeper into that. But anyways, I have a lot of feelings about this. That's why I vented about it for so long on my channel. And why we'll probably continue to vent about it in the future, because I've seen the negative effects of having a government that just doesn't care and having people just treat it like, oh, like people just need to work harder, because that's not reality. Reality isn't like that. Healthcare costs are the highest it's ever been. Trump is literally not, like, I don't know if you guys know any pharmacists or whatever. I know about a lot of this because I'm close to a couple of pharmacists, as well as the fact that I grew up with my aunt basically ran a couple of pharmacies. So when she had cancer, I helped her through like a lot of whatever with like private pharmacy and everything. So I have a lot of hands-on experience with this. A lot of medical drugs, as well as pharmaceuticals as a whole, there are like what the insurance says they'll pay out and what they actually pay out. Everybody who has had to deal with the American healthcare system knows that there's always these hidden costs put into play, and that our insurance companies will back out anytime that they can because they don't want to pay for things. And it's really fucking annoying. So like sometimes you'll go to the pharmacy and you'll have like a prescription you have to pick up. Like let's say it's insulin, and you have like GoodRx or whatever, which is something that's really helpful here in the States. Like I've used it before for like medications that I've had to take for, like if I needed to pick up like an antibiotic or whatever, it's helped me out a little bit, but it's never covering as much as it says it's going to cover. And you have to go to specific pharmacies and you have to go super out of your way in order to meet the specific qualifications that you need in order to get the stuff. And then, like I've said before, insurance won't always cover certain medications. So let's say you need a medication immediately because your prescription ran out. Like let's say you have ADHD or whatever, like how I do. Like a big reason why I don't get medicated for my ADHD is because I cannot guarantee that I will have reliable access to my ADHD medication. And because of that, it would be not great on my body for me to maybe go like a week without it. I would be non-functional. So I have to tough it out and not have the resources that I need in order to function properly, which fucking sucks. And I sit here and I tell myself, well, there's these benefits to it, but I do that to cope because it fucking sucks that I can't get the shit that I need to function. It sucks how I have to face like a disability without getting access to stuff that can help it reliably. So I have to go without it because the effect of having treatment and then having that taken away is so jarring on my body that it makes it so I cannot function. I cannot function because your body will like basically goes into shock when it doesn't have the medication it needs. It's like going cold turkey on it's very different, but like antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications. Most ADHD pills are either stimulants or SSRIs, which will fuck you up. Yeah, I know. You get ads, sorry. Yeah, I agree with you, Tahami. I really don't know. And I really hope that we do. But as it is, I don't have a lot of hope staying in this country. It's either I get like really fucking rich or something, and then I'm able to afford healthcare somehow, or I get like I marry someone who's fucking rich enough to like get me good health insurance, or I like leave the country. Honestly, and the big reason why I wanted to leave America for so long Like, and one of the major reasons why I don't feel comfortable here in America is because I've never been able to get the healthcare I need here. And looking at other countries, or there's so many other countries I could move to where I could actually get proper treatment. And other people don't have those hurdles because they don't have like the fucking chronic health issues that I have. And they don't require me the same amount of doctor visits that I have to do. Like, I don't get to go to the doctor regularly because I can't afford it. Even with like Obamacare or whatever, I can't afford to go as often as I need to. And it fucking sucks. I don't get to go to the dentist. I don't get to update my prescription and get glasses because it costs me so much in order to do that. I should technically wear glasses. I have not had LASIK or anything. I can't afford to get the glasses that I need. And it makes my life harder. It makes it so I can't even drive at night even if I wanted to because my stigmatism is so bad that I can't see super well. And it fucking sucks. It's not that I'm like a danger to anybody or whatever. It's just that I don't get the ability to get the things that I need. And I have a lot of this stuff or whatever, but almost everything I have has either been gifted to me by other people. Yeah, me too, Darius. I don't know. It's better if I just leave the country. Darius says, how much are glasses? You can order them off the internet here for about 30 euros. They're crap, but they work. Because of my prescription and my broken nose, I have to get like special glasses. Oh, that's another thing. I have a broken nose. I can't really breathe through my nose. It causes me fucking chronic health issues, and I can't get the nose job that I need because my health insurance won't cover it properly. And I have to go on, or 30 pounds, yeah, sorry. I always forget the euro symbol looks more like, you know, an E. But yeah, pounds sterling, euros, yeah. They're similar, I'm sorry, but thank you. But yeah, I don't get the healthcare that I need. I don't want to live in this country if it's going to continue being like this because it's cheaper for me to save up like $10,000-$20,000, take everything I have to leave the country, than to continue trying to do stuff here. Because even if I get a good degree or whatever, I don't have a lot of hope of me even being able to get like enough money to be here. Like, it fucking sucks. And it sucks that I have to make the ultimatum of like being in my home country and like having, you know, having the things that I need or leaving. And Darius says, get your English as a foreign language diploma and fuck off somewhere. I can't even go to the countries that I want to go to because of what my country is doing. That's the shitty thing. It's like, I have put myself in a position to try so fucking hard to like be in a good advantage. And I've tried asking for help from resources and everything, from people who are supposed to help me, people who have so much, and they just like fuck you shit or whatever. And I know, like, it just sucks. It sucks because I have to work 5 times harder just to get it all ripped away by this administration. It sucks. And it's not just me. Like, for me, I have it a lot better than a lot of other people because at least my chronic health issues don't make it so I can't work, like, at all. You know, like, I'm stuck at home constantly. But I can't work a manual labor job because of my hypermobility problems. I can't even like work as a server. I can't work as a bartender. I can't work in nightlife anymore. I can't like, I have to rest my body more, otherwise my joints will slip out and then I can't move my body for weeks at a time because I have to recover. I have to be so fucking careful with my health that like if anything fucking happens in my life or goes wrong or there's one small mistake, I lose everything. It's like people don't fucking get it. And they're just like, oh, well, like rich people are just like, oh, well, whatever, try harder. And it's like, if you're telling me to try harder, you live like this, you know? Oh dear, are you okay, Josie? No, it's fucking hard. Because this is the shit I have to live with. And having a government that doesn't stand up for you fucking sucks. And just leaving the country doesn't make it better, because if you have a government that's constantly fucking over other countries, those countries can just deport everyone who is from that nation. So even if I do get to another country, and even if I do have that like advantage of just staying there, living there, unless I renounce my citizenship, which costs money in America to do, you have to spend like almost $8,000 to do that. It's like insane.
You're in the middle of a bit.
We have 10 more minutes until we
Yeah.
normally go.
Yeah.
I know what time it is.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It just, people don't understand. And I have like a dog. I have 2 cats. I have 2 dogs technically. The dog was inherited, you know, and all of that stuff. Dara says, I've never heard of an American being deported for the government's actions here. That's in the UK. And getting a job as an American in the UK right now is hard. There's lots of different places like that it is hard to go to now as like an American. And with Trump doing like all of this crazy like bans on other countries and shit, making it so you can't really go there or be accepted back, that shit's fucking harder. Dara says there's an embassy worker that killed someone in a road accident and they just let her go home with no charges. That is not the same thing. And the thing is that's the, you weren't here for this before, but there's the option of I can either afford to get health care and health insurance and stuff, or I can afford to go to school. If things start getting more expensive with like Obamacare, I won't be able to afford that and school at the same time. I'll have to get another job. And I won't be able to go to school and have another full-time job. I can prep myself to leave America, but I don't want to leave the country because I love it here. I like living here. But the hard thing is that it's not a quality life to live here. Like if you were to do the math and everything for like, especially being a woman here in America, I would either have to move to a major city, which is expensive. And I have friends who live in other major cities and stuff, but it would be a very big quality of life dip because you can't rely on the federal government and state resources aren't always enough. Like it literally isn't. So you either do that, risk going homeless if you can't find a good enough job or whatever, or you just fucking find a way to leave the country. And even then you have to save a lot, get more of an education. But how do you do that if you can't afford to do schooling and have health insurance at the same time? If you have to just pick up some random full-time job so you can have some shitty-ass health insurance where the rates are still going to go up, where you still can barely save money up to go to classes or go to school, how are people supposed to do that? Like, how? Like, you can say that there's a lot of things and lots of conditions, but, and I'm not saying it's impossible or whatever, but I'm saying that I have to give up everything. I have to give up having a social life in order to live the life that I'm living. And I'm not talking about a lot of stuff, because my life is a lot easier than it used to be, because I actually finally have a semi-decent support system. For the first time in my life, I do. I have people around me that I can rely on, but I am one of those people where my family was never like that. And the relatives that I did have that were like that are all fucking dead. So it's like, not everybody gets that privilege. And I'm not the only person like that. I am so fortunate to have, like, what support I have right now, even though that is a fraction of what most other people have. So it's like, if it's this hard for me and I am this fucking privileged, then imagine how hard it is for someone who doesn't have that stuff, which is a lot more people. Like, it just, it sucks. Go to Germany, you don't need a visa as American to work there. I believe, on the other hand, is full of Germans. It's not even like just go to Germany, because I would have to pay for the flights to get to Germany, find a way to get a job, preferably find a job there before I move there. And then I have other shit too. I would have to abandon my education yet again to move to another fucking country. That's what would happen. And it's hard because you have to do so much setup work for that too. And you have to apply for all these schools and stuff, which is a lot of work. There's a whole lot of shit that comes into play with upping and leaving a country. It's not something, especially here in America, it's not something that you can just do easy fucking peasy. And even then, I don't even know if I'd be able to afford being able to move there because I'm a student. Like, I have money, but it's enough to do that shit. Daria says, yeah, I know I've done it 3 times, but to my knowledge, you have a support system. So if anything goes wrong for you, you have people that will back you up. I don't have that. I have never had that. I thought I had that, and then when it came down to the wire of shit, I realized that I didn't. And that's not me being like, oh, poor me, but you can take larger risks in life, which I would love to take these risks for myself. I would love to do all that stuff. But if something happens and I can't stay in like 6,000 miles away from anyone you don't understand. Like when I say my support system is very small, like I don't have a family that I can go to because my entire fucking family died. Like, it's not me. I'm not joking. Like, you want to know the reality of shit, and that's what it is. Not just for me, but for a lot of people. A lot of people have shitty fucking families, or family who has fucking died. Like, they have no support system. So you can't just, like, up and leave the country without having it be ironclad fucking foolproof. I do not take risks like that. And I have never had the privilege of being able to take risks like that in my life because I've never had people able to back me up. So every time that I've moved, even leaving my abusive ass ex, moving here into the city, like, and all that shit, I had to take a shitty ass apartment where horrible stuff was happening with my neighbors. I had to call the police fucking constantly. My neighbor was assaulted, almost killed by her husband, and I had to help her and her kid. Like, I lived in a shithole where everything fucking sucked. And I had no support system. I had to live there because it sucked so bad. And then it was so uninhabitable because I didn't even have fucking heating in the winter where it got down to -30 here with wind chill. So it was probably like -15. It was really cold that winter. My car wouldn't start, so my car got towed. I had to take out a fucking like cash loan, like day cash loan in order to get my car out of the tow lot. And then I had to work double shifts in order for me to pay it off immediately so I wouldn't be stuck in that fucking like loop. I had to build my shit up brick for fucking brick. I never had a support system or people that could help me pay shit. And even through all of that, I still had debt I had to pay, medical debt I had to pay. That if I didn't pay for it, I could get, like, it could go to collections or it was just accruing interest. Like, I had to pay for it. I had no other option. So it's not like when you do not have a support system at all, you can't just like up and do whatever. You have to have everything planned out. You have to have all of your ducks in a row and plan for every single thing that could go wrong so you don't end up stranded somewhere with nothing. With nothing. Like when I've moved multiple times, but I've only moved places where I know I have people who have already lived there, where people I've either met online or people that I've already had personal relationships with, not that can support me financially or whatever or anything like that, but can at least like hold on to like paperwork that I have in order like my social security information, my birth certificate, and stuff like that. Because believe it or not, when you're homeless and the cops do a raid on your encampment or whatever you have, that shit's gone. You lose all your fucking papers. And it costs money to get that back as well as an address to send it to you. So, like, being risky, doing all that stuff, like, I've already been homeless. I've had to deal with that shit. You don't get to, like, fucking make risks like that. You don't get to just like up and leave and just hope for the best because there's nothing to come back to. And yeah, that works for some people, and that's great, but usually they already have something established there, or they're going through like a government program or some program that's ironclad in order to go out there, which you have to work to get to that too. So like, when you guys are like, oh, just leave the country, not everyone can do that. I am very privileged to have the opportunities that I have to get here. And even then, I'm not even like, I have had so many setbacks because my government has never actually like taken into consideration people of my demographic. It's always been, oh, there's other people that can help you, like whatever. Even here in America, I'm not going to dive super deep into all this because I do have to get going. I have other shit I have to do. But here in America, there's a whole TikTok trend of people calling churches asking for baby formula for help and assistance. And the only place that actually helped was like, I think it was 9 out of 33 churches actually offered to help someone with formula when their baby was fucking dying. 9 out of 33. There are less places that can help people who have been going through struggles, like financially. Most homeless shelters are very dangerous to live in. If you don't have a car to live in, you're fucked. I don't have a car anymore. I don't have like all that stuff. I have to make shit work. And a lot of people have to make shit work. It's not a fun thing. Not having people you can rely on, and especially not having a government you can rely on, forces people to do things that they would not want to do. I am so fucking fortunate that I am privileged that good things have come my way, and I've worked so hard to help my community for them helping me back. And it's never been people close to me. I have never had a single person that has actually been close to me actually be there when it fucking mattered. It has always been charity organizations or random groups of people who have given me an employment. Like, you living here fucking sucks. Like, it fucking sucks. And even what I have been through is so much better than so many people that I have been around that have not made it. Who didn't have it work out, who couldn't, like, find the right people. But it has never been my government that has helped me. It has never been my family or, like, really anyone. Like, Andrew's the only person that I have known for an extended period of time that has, like, been there. It has never been my government. And that is the saddest thing. It is why I am not patriotic. And it's why probably, unless that shit changes, I probably never will be. I get involved in local politics. I try to help out my community because I understand that being a participant and trying to help make something better is better than just living through the shit constantly. But it's a privilege for me to even be able to give back in that way. And if I had more, I would have done more and I would have had more, you know. It just sucks. As Tommy says, calm down, girl. Not everything is not bad. Yeah, it's not good, but it's not bad. You also are in a really good place. But it is always something that can go wrong. Always. Always. And living in a place where you don't have, like, that stability sucks. It just sucks. And it's not like I can lie to people or just, like, do whatever. Just let her release it, Tommy. Now, I'm just trying to be real with you guys. Like, I am very privileged. I am very lucky to be where I am. But I don't think you guys understand what it's like to watch people that are in similar situations to you not be able to make it. Not because you're any better than them or that they didn't try hard enough. Most of these people tried a lot fucking harder than me. But they just couldn't, like, it's not luck. I hate it when people say it's fucking luck. Because luck doesn't fucking exist. It's literally like, a lot of the reason why I am in a better position is because of racism. It is also because I grew up around wealthy people even though I had nothing. it's not fucking luck. It's because I understand how to interact with wealthy people, even if I don't have a lot, not fake it to make them think that I have more, but to make them think, oh, she's one of us and I can help her. That's the difference. It's not fucking luck. It's I was handled different cards to be able to navigate spaces that are up higher. That's the difference. And that's not even, like, if you say being born into a situation is like, sure, but I had to learn how to navigate that when I was younger in order to survive, otherwise I would lose everything. That's what it is like here. So, anyways, I do have to go. I have to go eat. But luck doesn't exist like that. And I hate it when people reduce things to luck, because then it's like you don't have to actually look at how things are. It's different than that. But anyways, sorry for the depressing chat. We'll probably talk about this more later. I am very upset about this situation. I do not know if it's going to get better. And I don't know what's going to happen if it doesn't get better. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have had a wonderful day, and even though this was like hard as fuck, and I will see you guys later. So, sleep well, stay safe, stay alive, and cheers.